What's one to do if there's not a new Iron Maiden album out or a new Saxon record? It's one from those classic British new wave of heavy metal bands. Who's going to hold that banner high? Who's going to remind us of where we all came from? Well, over the past couple of years, we could look to Accept. And yeah, I mean the band. So we're looking to Germany. Accept with Blind Rage. This is the third album that they've had with their new singer. And the first two have been pleasant surprises. Blood on the Nations came forward in 2010 and shocked the landscape. It was something that was considered to be one of the greatest surprise comebacks probably of our time. Not to mention, the comeback itself was nice, but the album, the album was tremendous. It was transformative. It was something that showcased Accept with a new brazen balls to the wall. I understand the joke. Real fulfillment to them. They've been revitalized. Stalingrad came out and built upon what Blood of the Nations did a little bit, but some people found Stalingrad to be kind of a middling effort, but still a damn solid release. Here in 2014, with Blind Rage, as the title suggests, our expectations are nothing short of rage-inducing. We're hoping that we have that old-style, destructive feel that we've gotten on the previous two releases in the new Accept era. Blind Rage, however, throws us a curveball. Blind Rage shows that not all rage is contrived based around outward violence. This is still an album that has phenomenal riffs. It has great grooves, not to mention it has a body, a mind, and a soul all of its own. One that really is illuminated by the way in which it really progresses from one track to the next. As you really see and you reach into this musical envelope, you start to realize that you're getting quite the mixed bag, and this is a good mixed bag. Very first two tracks on this album remind you of everything that you've heard with the last two releases, and this may actually bring a lot of people some praise and some adulation based around the fact that these last two albums have been huge successes for Accept. Not to mention, it has rebuilt a fan base that perhaps never thought that they would hear a great Accept album ever again. They've basically rebuilt it from the ground up. Now, yes, there are purists that say if it ain't Udo, it ain't shit. But those are folks that really just kind of need to accept the fact that this new idea, this new Accept, is making great music without him. And he doesn't want anything to do with it. He'd rather do his own thing, and that's something that should be respected also. After the second track, things start to take a turn. I open this up to really illuminate that, because it's almost as though a switch has been turned whenever you get to Dark Side of My Heart. You start to notice a bit of a change in tone. You start to notice a bit of a change in pace. You start to hear some hearkening clarion calls from the past, from past decades. Perhaps a bit of a writing motif that seems to be oddly familiar. Something that Accept perhaps has mastered in the past. Perhaps the style that brought them to prominence. Yes. We're seeing and hearing a lot of channeling of good old-fashioned 1980s Accept. The ones that were able to take heavy metal by the balls and give it a German spin. That were able to bring a lot of attention, a lot of focus to Germany outside of bands such as the Scorpions. And you hear that with Dark Side of My Heart, and then you get into Fall of the Empire, and now you start to recognize that new wave of British heavy metal, that bands such as Saxon, that bands such as Iron Maiden have made so famous and so impossible to resist throughout the course of now 4 decades. I mean, this is just a true thumper. This is one that just goes on, and you just are transfixed by it. It has just a great property to it. Sure, the idea, the concept of the slower churning metal song that kind of, really delivers a powerful performance from all members is not something that's all of that out of the ordinary. In fact, in this department, in this basic run-of-the-mill heavy metal genre of heavy metal, the overall thing, it's quite commonplace. It's something that you almost need. You almost require this in order to have an album full of diversity and really to showcase exactly the kind of chops that you have. This is where your guitar player gets to shine through a perhaps late song guitar solo of epic variety. This is where your singer is really separated from the men and the boys. This is where your entire band's career and your entire band's ability can really be made or broken. This is an idea that is revisited multiple times on this album, and it's one that is especially revisited once we get near the ending, once we get to part or side 2. But Fall of the Empire, going into Trail of Tears, which is a little more straightforward and direct, really showcases that Accept has not forgotten some of the lessons that they've learned from the past. This is instead one where they're able to showcase a lot of diversity, where they're able to showcase great pacing, where they're not going to litter you down with songs that sound the same pace-wise, back to back to back. They're instead going to give you a very dynamic experience that showcases the full breadth of their ability and the full style of their catalog. Whenever you get to tracks such as Bloodbath Mastermind, and then to the triumphant From the Ashes We Rise, and to the even better The Curse, we'll talk about that in a minute, you start to recognize that Accept saved some of their best tricks for last. You take a look at the song lengths and you immediately think to yourself that these are all going to follow a simple structured formula. You take a look at some of the introductions of this. They have kind of a soft intro that kind of leads and guides you into the body of the song. But then you realize that you have various styles. You have the good old-fashioned thrasher with Bloodbath Mastermind. You have one that's a little bit more middling with From the Ashes We Rise. It's really just a triumphant, bold proclamation to the world. Almost like Accept themselves are saying to everybody out there, yeah, you guys didn't think that we were going to do this. You didn't think we were going to come back and be a band that was worth a damn. Well, fuck you. From the ashes we rose like the mighty phoenix, and we surprised all of you. Probably not a song that's all about self-service. I can almost guarantee you that. However, it's pretty fair to say that they would have every reason, and they would really be qualified, and they would be deserving if they opted to use a little bit of self-important reflection with a song such as this, because really, this is a terrific story. The Return of Accept is a terrific story. But then we get into The Curse. The Curse, for me, is a lyrical gem. It's a musical masterpiece, don't get me wrong, but the lyricism on this can touch on so many different topics. It can touch on so many different things. You know, why is it always the sinners, the ones that are saints whenever they are gone? Touching base on a simple idea of injustice, that something that we all feel in some way, perhaps throughout our lives, the curse of being good, the curse of doing what's right, you know, the curse of our honor. You know, I am really doing a lot of paraphrasing here with the lyricism. However, the reasoning is very simple. We're seeing in this song somebody recognizing this idea and then boldly proclaiming, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Boldly proclaiming that now he will continue to fight for what he feels is right, but he's no longer going to do it with, you know, that resilient smile on his face. That he's now going to boldly go after all the things that he wants. Boldly exclaiming that the curse of being good, the curse of our honor, is in the fact that it seems as though those who really are not qualified or deserve it are the ones who have all the attention, the ones who are in the spotlight, the ones who are considered to be the heroes whenever everything finishes up, all the dust settles, and the injustice that really comes with that. It's a lyrical gem that's hard for me to really accurately reflect with words. It's that good. This whole album has a subtle darkness to it. It's one that has a twist to it that, while it has a lot of those conceptual ideas that you heard from Accept's triumphant 1980s years, it has a modern edge to it. Andy Sneap produces this like a motherfucker, as he always seems to do. Andy is just a beast on production. Yeah, some people will complain that the production's too clean. Well, let me tell you, it really enhances everything here. It really does. I'm sorry. I'm typically not one that's saying perfection is, you know, what's going to excel the art of heavy metal. It's not something that's necessary, but Andy just does such a fucking great job. It's hard to deny it. This is an album that from track 1 to track 11 just feels complete. It has great, dynamisy to it. It's a dynamite release. Their third straight, in my opinion. Their third straight. Accept's on a roll. They're on a tremendous roll. I mean, maybe lightning strikes twice, you just have to wait 30 years. But that seems kind of unfair to say. High praise to this album. High praise. 92 out of 100. There was nothing on here that I found to really be complaint-worthy. The middle of the album I don't talk about as much because that's the only part of the album I wasn't totally 100% sold on. That's the only complaint that I could maybe have. And it's a minor complaint at best. I highly recommend this album to all metal fans. I understand that those who prefer the extreme variety, the death, the black, the grind, will probably look at this and say, fuck that. It's your call. Maybe just the traditional heavy metal sense isn't your bag. I recommend this to younger fans of music, and especially metal music, not only as a testimony to how things were, and really how the new wave of British heavy metal is still not only in existence today, but is still prominent and still can deliver just fantastic and phenomenal albums, but also for a lot of you out there who are becoming guitar players. You need to listen to these solos, and more specifically, you need to listen to the construction both before, during, and after. Because these solos don't feel wasted. These solos don't feel like whenever the song was being constructed, there was a portion of time that was allotted, and he was told to just go to town. We need this to fill space. Everything feels like it leads right into those solos, and what follows feels as though it deserves to be there. This is not something that's just a space eater, or just to show off. This is something that actually brings a song that was already damn good into the realm of the excellent. This album is absurdly good. It really is. What did you think about it? What did you think about Blind Rage by Accept? What was your favorite track? What are some great memories that you have of this band? Let me know in the comments below. Of course, don't forget, if you want to have more reviews, hit the subscribe button, like, and do all that other happy nonsense. I'll see you guys next time. Up the fucking horns for Accept. 3 in a row? Never saw that coming.